Good morning. Peace and blessings. Happy Thursday. How's everybody doing today? We're about to move into the Aquarius New Moon energy. This Aquarius energy is so important. It's such a big deal. It's so very exciting because Aquarius is the energy of what we would call God. And as I study and learn that we live in an energetic system, that everything here is all about energy, and that's all, that what we see with our eyes is actually everything you see with your physical eyes. Thank you, Chameleon. Everything you see with your physical eyes deceives you because the external world is old, it's outdated, it's already expired. So by the time things get to the external world, what you see is not what it really is. It's something else. And that's not an easy concept to get because as humans, we have been extraordinarily externalizing our power for hundreds and, maybe a couple of thousand years now. We've had to rely on the external world as a true guiding post. And it's never been that. It never has been. But everything serves its purpose here in our universe, right? So even though we've been living out of alignment with ourselves and we've been focusing more on the external world. So it's like you feel something because your feelings are what are true. But then the external world tells you that what you feel is not true. So you have to overstep your feelings for the external experience. And in doing that, you abandon yourself in your commitment or your not just your commitment, because it's not even about, it's just your connection to yourself. What we feel is always much more aligned and much more true than what we see with our eyes. Until we begin to really follow our feelings and trust them, then soon the universe will align what we feel to what we see. But there is an order. There is a divine order. And the divine order is what you feel is more significant than what you see. But because we've been in alignment with the patriarchy and masculine and the masculine code, so to say, right? I don't want to make this be about men because this isn't about any particular person. We all have masculine and we all have feminine energy, right? It's not just men. So because we've been more leaning into the masculine, which is the external realms, we have been more inclined to ignore our feelings. Now, the challenge in that is generally women are much more connected to feelings than men are. This is just general because some men are very connected to feelings, but generally women are more connected to feelings. So because women have been conditioned to deny what they feel, hey Deborah, because women have been conditioned to deny what we feel and trust what we see over centuries and thousands of years, we have become reliant upon men because men have power in the physical world reality through physical might. So we have gotten narratives like men are going to protect us and we need a man to do this and because we have been denying and overstepping our sensory systems, which really never lie to us, honestly, except that we don't trust them and then it begins to lie because you've been denying it. So the thing that's fascinating about this age of Aquarius is the age of Aquarius requires that you trust yourself. You can no longer abdicate or abandon yourself for another person's ideas or frequencies because the universe is honoring your individuality. Now, we've been moving into the age of Aquarius for a while now, and we're about to have a new moon in Aquarius. Saturn has been in Aquarius for the last 2 years. Pluto is coming into Aquarius in May, you guys. And it is so important for the feminine in men and women to begin to take her rightful place, to take its rightful place in the lead. The feminine is the lead. What is the feminine? The internal. As above, so below. Below is the external realm, the 3D reality, the masculine. So as above, who is above? The feminine. As below, who is below? The masculine. So as the feminine is, so will the masculine be. Now here's how this works. Everything in our universe comes from the feminine, the internal, the invisible. Everything, every person on the planet comes out of a woman's womb. Every single one. So because women have been denying ourselves and abandoning ourselves and not trusting our feelings, we live in a world where the things that we create, the people that we create, don't honor themselves or us, because we have not been creating what we create from a frequency of abundance and love and joy, because we have been abandoning ourselves, what you really feel. This is a generational thing, and it's not to make it wrong. It's a symptom of the dark ages. We're in the dark ages right now. We're coming out of the dark ages, but these behaviors are symptoms of the dark ages. So the more we can make peace with the symptoms, the behaviors, the more we can realign them, because you cannot heal something that you are judging or making wrong. You can't heal it if you're judging it, if you're making it be an enemy. Anything that you make an enemy, you give power to. So in order for you to heal it, you have to love it. You gotta love it. So I go through extreme things, but I've been doing this work for a while. So I'll ask myself, what can I love about racism? What can I love about, the ways that the world is now? How can I love it? How can I get the value out of it? Because when you love it, you get the value from it. When you love it, you draw the power out of it. When you love it, you change poison to medicine. But you have to love it. You can do it no other way. Lotus Mud Queen says, can't believe it's already here. Oh yeah, it's already here. Yeah, I feel like you've been talking about this for a while now. I have. I have. I feel like there's nothing else to talk about, honestly, which is really interesting, because the thing that's fascinating is that as the age of Aquarius, our individuality, our unique ways of being must become our prized possession. No longer are we here to blend in. No longer are we here to give all of our power away to the kings or the queens. Your individuality is the thing that's going to sustain you. So you can't abdicate your power any longer. And, it's just what we've been doing forever in our country. There's this documentary, you guys, on Hugh Hefner and the Playboy experience, The Secrets of Playboy. I think it's on Hulu. So fucking fascinating. So fascinating, because it's a really interesting thing. One of the things when I was growing up, because my father was a pimp, and he was a pimp, right? But because he was a pimp, I was always aware of this energy that goes on between men and women, it's not always, that can go on between men and women, where women feel like they must submit themselves to men at all costs, that they don't have dominion over themselves, that they're not sovereign in themselves. So most of the contracts in America are set up where women are property. So when you sign a marriage contract, that contract makes you property. It makes your commitment property of the state, property of the man. When you vote, you give your energy, you make your energy property of the government. Like, all of these are really deeply spiritual practices that aren't talked about in a spiritual way. But when you understand at the subconscious level what's going on, you're giving your life force over to another person, and that is your power. And so as women, when we don't understand what we're doing, when, we are not taking responsibility for ourselves. And when you don't take responsibility for yourself, that energy has to go somewhere. So somebody else is taking responsibility for it. So I'm watching this documentary about Hugh Hefner, which is all about, the way it's narrated and formulated is that this man spent his entire career just raping women. That's what they're saying. That he literally was just a rapist, and that he founded a whole industry on raping women. Playboy was completely, according to this, founded upon raping women. But the thing that's important to understand is that America, the country itself, was founded upon raping women. You got to get it. You got to get it. You can only create within the system that is created more of the same. You cannot step out of the way the system was created and create something in light if everything is created in dark. So America was created upon raping Black women to generate a system of free labor. And the whole system is predatory. All of it is predatory. So that means that every system created in America has to be predatory and is anchored on extracting the power from the feminine. Now, the thing is, in order to heal it, we have to be able to see it as it functions. You cannot heal it by judging it and making it wrong. That's the fucking trick, you guys. You cannot. So how do you do that? How do you look at a system where that's all based on predatory, stealing people from another country and free labor and raping women? Our whole country is formed on this. Like when I'm looking at the Kennedys, John F. Kennedy and Robert F. Kennedy, both having a love relationship with Marilyn Monroe, and she is damn near, she appears to be clueless, appears to have a cluelessness to her, because it's almost like the universe designed it so that women so that women seem to be disconnected from their own sensual sexual power, so that they aren't the driver of their own energy. They have to give it to somebody else to use it, so that because they can't use it themselves. They don't know how to be dominant over themselves. They don't know how to trust themselves. They don't know how to say yes to this and no to this. They don't know how to say this is for me, but this. So somebody has to come and manage them. So somebody comes and manages it. And that's how this entire country has been formulated. But Pluto and Capricorn is undoing all of that. It's undoing all of it. So you have to wake up. You must wake up, because no longer can anyone be the purveyor of your energy. You have to do it yourself. Mail order brides were stolen and bought. Absolutely. This, like, the entire nation has been coded, built upon predatory behaviors. And the thing, like, I want us to really understand is that we are in God's story. Let's say it that way. We are in the creator story, right? And so as humans, our egos will look at things and say, that's good and that's bad. But that's not how it works, y'all. That's not how it works. That's low level. That's like ignorance. This system is an energetic system, and everything is included. And the thing that when they talk about the Garden of Eden and not, it's about eating the apple, taking the wisdom so you can see the light and the dark, so that you're not naive, so that you are awake to all of the shadow and all of the light, so that you don't get dragged by the shadow, so that you are not just subject to the light. You have to be able to balance these aspects inside of yourself. And what this time frame has done in the last 400 or 500 years is that it divided us from ourselves. It said, this is good and this is bad. So you have this idea like, oh, this is okay, but this is not. And that's why somebody like Hugh Hefner could create a Playboy where he's touted as a hero, but behind the scenes, all this shadow stuff is going on because we are conditioned in our country to deny the shadow. So because it's being denied, it's being tucked away, and people aren't telling the truth about the fullness. Like, we are whole beings. We are light and dark. We're not just good or bad. Everything is included, but you have to have the courage to own your shadow. You have to have the courage to say, these are the things that get my goose and they're dark as fuck. There's nothing wrong with it. But because we make it wrong in this Christian culture, this is beautiful, this is not. This is desirable, this is not. You're not going to feed the shadow, but you are going to interact with your shadow so that it doesn't overwhelm you and create addictions and create behavioral patterns and create choices that drive you deeper into the shadow and into more shame. You have to bring it out in the light. This is why I do the 13 moons work, because every month we look at our shadow and we excavate where we need to see how we've been abandoning ourselves and running from ourselves and going into the shadows and not telling ourselves the truth. And it happens in the simplest ways, you all, right? It happens with people saying simple things like, oh, I need a relationship because I don't want to be alone. That's a shadow thing. Why is that a shadow thing? Because you're never alone. Even if you are physically by yourself, you are never alone. Your ancestors are with you. The spirit guides are with you. Nature is with you. And when we tell subtle lies to ourselves, we open up dimensions of shadow that come into us. When you tell yourself something like, I don't have enough, I don't have enough money, that's a shadow. Then a shadow gets created where you open up portals and dimensions of lack, where you won't have enough. When you tell yourself things like, I'm not good enough, that's a shadow. And then that shadow opens up dimensions of things where you experience not being good enough. Like the ways that we absolutely tap into shadow are the most subtle things, because we don't understand that we are creating the reality. It's the biggest thing, y'all, like to understand that you are generating an energetic frequency that is building a reality based upon your consciousness. And this universe is a whiteboard. It's a whiteboard. So whatever you put up there, whatever you say, whatever you think about yourself, the universe is like, yes, you feel good. Here it is. You feel like shit. Hocus pocus. You don't have enough. You absolutely do not. You think you're beautiful. You fucking are. If you are, whatever it is, you are whatever frequency you're resonating at. You are generating that code into the reality, and that reality is projecting it back to you. You cannot escape from yourself. The only thing you can do is remove the blocks to the truth of who you are, which is Aquarius and the Aquarius New Moon, who you really are. And it has nothing to do with anybody else. If you know that you are creative and rich as fuck and beautiful and aligned, it just has nothing to do with anybody else. And if you can resonate at that frequency, the universe will produce the reality that reflects what you know about yourself to you. It only can. It only can. So today is a Jupiter day, and Jupiter is in Aquarius. Jupiter is in Aries. Aries is about our identity. And with Jupiter has been retrograde in for the last several months. And now Jupiter is about to go through Aries, and it's going to be there. And it hasn't been here for 12 years, you guys. It hasn't been here for 12 years. So with Jupiter in Aries is where we build our identity, where we begin to create the foundations for who we are going to unfold as for the next 12 years. Now, the thing that's happening is that Pluto is moving into Aquarius. We're about to experience a profound revolution. Now, this is not about violence. Revolution is about your consciousness and what people are projecting into the reality. And as we stop doing the things that I was talking about earlier, like abusing the feminine. Abuse is not really the right word. Denying the feminine, abandoning the feminine, cutting off our inner world, not trusting ourselves. As we stop doing that and begin to rely upon ourselves, we're all going to begin to function differently. And then we're going to begin to create new systems and new ways of being. But it's important to know that the new systems and new ways of being have to come through us. Nobody else is going to do this work. So like for me, I've had to look at where I'm giving my power away to men. Where do I, and this is not about men as much as it is my father, right? It's like, where did I start giving my power away to the masculine? Because my father was violent. So I was afraid to trust myself because his tyranny demanded that I focus on him. And so I just been doing that all my life, but I had to heal that. I have to heal that pattern. I have to see it, that that I'm deferring, that I'm not trusting myself. And then I have to do the rituals and the practices to change that so that I come back to myself, so that I wake up into who I am and I'm not creating those patterns any longer. And so when I stop creating the patterns, then the people around me have a greater chance not to stop creating those patterns because we just stop the behavior. That was my relationship with your dad too. Yes, who we are with our fathers as women is how we tend to be with men in our lives. So you want to begin to recode your own behavior. And how do you recode your behavior? By following the new moons and doing the rituals. Because every month, the sun and the moon go into a new energy so that you can recode that new energy. So this month it's in Aquarius. Next month it will be in Pisces. The month after that it'll be in Aries. Every month you get an opportunity to say, okay, how is this working, right? So last year we had a new moon in Aquarius. Last year at the new moon in Aquarius, I was like, okay, I'm going to build a community because Aquarius is about community and friends. This year, I have completely built a community because I put it out in the universe, what I'm doing. And so the universe has conspired to support me to do not what I want to do, what I'm born to do. I'm not doing I'm doing what the universe desires to express through me. I'm doing what God wants to experience as me. And as I align my energy with the divine, more and more and more, I get connected to the God codes within me because I'm doing not what my ego wants me to do, but what the divine within me wants me to do. And that's the significant difference. Are you doing what your ego, are you trying to make money, or are you doing what the call of the divine in you is calling you to? Because that is what is needed right now. We need people to answer the call of God inside of them. We need women and men to answer the call of the goddess inside of you that's telling you to stop thinking about your mama in that way, and stop behaving with this old story, and stop eating that way, and stop thinking that way, and start doing these things. The God in you is telling you what to do. When I listen to the God in me, it's like, all right, now stop eating out and start talking to your body and making sure that your body understands that you treasure it, that you are aligned to it, that you are honoring it. And, one of the things for me that has been really challenging is my story around racism. You guys have heard me talk, like, racism has been a woo for me, because I've had to really harness that energy and that power that I was enraged with white people about. And I was just talking to a girlfriend yesterday, and she said, you have to understand. And I was like, all right, let me get it. We live in a dualistic system, and the duality is necessary here. The duality is a part of the experience. So racism has been that. So now I ask myself, how can I be grateful for these racist experience? How can I be grateful? What is the benefit of this experience? Well, the benefit of being in a Black body is that you have access to the most power, because the lower you are in the energetic realm, the deeper you are in the shadow, and Black people carry the shadow in this country. The deeper you are in the shadow, the more power you have access to. Yes, the contrast. So the more I can accept the opposition and begin to harness it and love it, the more that I can project another reality that is the opposite experience of the division of racism, that is pure love and power and unification and connection. But I have to be willing to hold the duality in my system. I have to be able to be willing to hold the opposites with ease and grace and appreciation. Now, this is not a call for the faint of heart, okay? This is some mastery level shit, and it has been difficult for me to learn how to do it. But learning to use the moon has helped me do it, because I just can work with the rituals and do the work inside of my body, and the energy begins to cultivate and mix. And this is how we move ourselves out of the age of Pisces and into the age of Aquarius, by beginning to really trust ourselves and understand that we are energetic systems and energetic bodies. And these stories and narratives are here to catapult us forward, not to keep us backward. All right, y'all. I think that's it. So Jupiter, that's it. Jupiter is about the jewels inside of you and really using that energy. I want to invite you guys to join Follow the Sun, and the things that I have going on there right now. I have a full moon group that we are doing the work with the moon and the sun every month. I have a first quarter moon group, and I teach the rituals and how to use these energies to move yourself into the God consciousness so that you can really be the fulfillment of God. It's a real thing. We get to be God here. And what does that mean? You get to have dominion over this reality. You get to live with dominion over this reality, but you have to neutralize the oppositions inside of you. You have to create less and less space between your own masculine and feminine energy. You have to integrate your own masculine and feminine energy, and then you can project the reality that you desire. All right, peace and blessings. Have a really beautiful day. Bye-bye.